Spider-Man 2, absolutely 10 out of 10, best freaking superhero game that I've ever played in my life. Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I'm going to do my review for Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started with this. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I just finished Spider-Man 2. I don't even know where to start. This review is absolutely going to be incredible. So I just want to be as unbiased as possible, and I want to talk about things. So we're going to start off with bugs, glitches, and everything else that's out there going around on the internet right now. Twitter's full of it. YouTube's full of it. My whole experience, about almost 20 hours into Spider-Man 2, I had one instance where the game crashed on me, booted me to the PlayStation dashboard, and then corrupted that save file for about an hour and a half worth of gameplay. That was the only thing that happened to me throughout this whole playthrough. So as what happened is I was getting to a cutscene. You're heading to the raft. You get to the raft to do like a babysitting mission or whatever. The game crashed on me right when the cutscene started, and then it booted me back to the dashboard. So when I tried to get back in there, I was about an hour and a half. The gameplay that I'd played was about an hour and a half from that point. After I got into it, it only took about 30 minutes to get back to where I was. So I was okay with that. That didn't really bug me too much. So as what happened is after that, right before I'd go to start doing like another big mission, I would just do a manual save real quick, just in case that ever happened again. And it did not happen again. I found one light that was out of place in the map, and then a texture that wasn't actually lined up, so you could kind of see through it. So that's it. That's the only bugs. That's the only stuff that I've seen in this game. I had one person that was kind of floating a little bit off the ground. Other than that, absolutely fine. No issues. It worked out just fine. So I wanted to kind of put that to rest. I mean, I know there's some people out there making the rounds, trying to make it look like it's a buggy, broken, busted mess, but I didn't have the problems that everybody's talking about, so there's no reason for me to bang on about that. My experience was absolutely pretty smooth. Another thing that I want to draw attention to is Spider-Man 2 is man, I had that in my train of thought, but I just forgot. So let's just move on. Let's move on to something that I really want to talk about, and that is combat. The combat in Spider-Man 2. A lot of people are talking about it looking the same. I too myself thought that this game looked pretty much the same as the old games. I was like, oh man, I was kind of dreading that. I was like, all right, whatever, we'll just get in there. The combat's going to feel the same. It definitely feels better. It definitely feels it definitely feels deeper. There's more moves. There's more move sets. You've got move sets for Peter. You've got move sets for Miles. You've got move sets that, are combined, that both of them, once you do these, you have different suit powers for each, for Peter and Miles. There's tons of upgrades. There's tons of things to be able to get there. And when you're in the middle of this combat, because it is super fast, it is super fluid, and your fingers are moving so fast that wow, it was good. It was very incredible. I played through this on the amazing difficulty, and it was challenging. It was pretty challenging. It was like almost borderline freaking Dark Souls challenging, some of these boss fights. So and while we're talking about that, I just want to move right into boss fights. Boss fights, oh my gosh, man. I didn't think they were going to be able to top 2018, but they did easily. The boss fights in this game are multifaceted, are multi-layered. They really bring out they make you use everything you learn. So the way they start, when you get into these boss fights, they're very challenging. And especially on like amazing difficulty, I think you can get hit like 3-4 times and then you're toast or whatever. So like dodging and moving around and being like quick on your feet and stuff is very important in this game, and it'll let you know. So your bosses will have like different types of movesets now. You've got a parry button now that you'll be able to parry them. Some moves you'll be able to parry. Some moves you're going to have to dodge. Some moves you have to, some you're going to have to parry, some you're going to have to dodge, and then some you'll be able to kind of, gosh dang it, what was it? It kind of happened toward the end of the game and stuff. Oh, you'll do like something to like, stop the move from happening or whatever. But once you get into this combat and you start experiencing this, like, it gets very, very, there'll be like world type things and stuff that you'll be able to interact with during these boss fights and stuff, which is pretty cool. Not a whole lot of like QTE type stuff in the boss fights at all. Mainly just the last one you had some of that, but in terms of like most of the boss fights, they all felt like pretty dang good. Like not a whole lot of QTEs. And while we're on the QTE thing, it wasn't anywhere as bad as it was before. Like the older Spider-Man games had a lot of them. This one here like cut a lot of that out, like a lot of that. There's like few instances that you'll have to like do like that kind of stuff. Set pieces in this game when it comes to these boss fights, oh my gosh, man. Like we had some really cool ones in the original Spider-Man 2018, like fighting Vulture up in the freaking the smokestacks and stuff, the chimneys, fighting Electro and stuff like that. It was those were cool, but I do believe that this one here kind of tops those in terms of not necessarily in scale, but in the way that you fight, like these boss fights, they feel more grounded. They feel less. They don't feel as gimmicky. They feel more like, whoa, dude, this is gonna take you some skill to get through this, and it's not like a gimmick fight. It's like, wow, like the only gimmick fight that they had pretty much was the Sandman thing. Everything else from then on was a lot more grounded and like in your face type combat stuff. Now I want to talk about the overall world design and like visual quality. Let's just talk about that real quick. When I first started playing it, you go through like the Sandman thing. I was like kind of like weirded out. I was like, wait a minute, dude, why does this game look so low resolution? Like there's no texture, there's no nothing during this Sandman type deal. And I was like, wow, this just isn't going to work for me on the 4K screen. So what happened is I ended up playing this on the 1440p monitor, and it was absolutely incredible from that point on. I played through the whole game in performance mode. Yes, you do still get all of the ray tracing. Everything still looks very, very good. To be completely honest with you, I'm surprised that Insomniac Games was able to get this game looking as insanely good as it does on a 1440p monitor with this ray tracing at 60 frames a second. And if you're using VRR and you let it go above, you can actually get a little bit higher FPS. So that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so now let's talk about these visuals for a minute, because Spider-Man 2018, Miles Morales, they have this like really like sharp look to them. And like when like looking out in the distance, you'll see like this really sharpness. But because Spider-Man 2 has significantly higher levels of fidelity, everything close to you is going to look really high fidelity. You're going to look at it and you're going to be like, wow, this looks incredible. But then if you kind of gaze off a little bit, you might see a building just looking a little bit weird. And you're going to think back to like 2018 and stuff, and you're going to be like, oh man, them buildings that far away looked incredible. Whereas on Miles Morales, there's a higher fidelity and there's different levels of how that fidelity comes into play. So And like the LOD pop-in, LOD management and stuff looks good enough so that when you're like swinging pretty fast, it's loading in pretty dang good and it's looking pretty nice. But there are instances that you're obviously going to see and you're going to be like, oh boy. But I think the way the game looks and the way the game is designed, I don't think it's going to bug you that much unless you're absolutely going out of your way to look for it and just pay attention to that. It wasn't distracting at all throughout the whole game. I was like, wow, this looks incredible. Vegetation detail has been cranked up tremendously, and it absolutely looks incredible when you're swinging through the trees, when you're on the ground in Central Park, and you see all the grass now. It looks very, very nice. Like, it is very nice on the eyes, and yeah, character design looks absolutely incredible. Multiple different suits that you're going to be able to get. And like just throughout the story, your Spider-Man's going to be changing, suits just on story beats and stuff, which is pretty dang cool. You'll obviously have the symbiote suit, you'll have the regular Spider-Man suit, and then I won't spoil the last suit that you're going to get throughout the Peter Parker journey. But then you have also like some really nice ones that Miles Morales is going to be getting. The symbiote gameplay is where things kind of like they go from just like, kind of like regular Spider-Man like 2018, but then it cranks it up a notch with the whole symbiote like tool set and everything like that. I do think you're absolutely going to appreciate the new moveset and the new things. At first, like when we were watching like the previews and stuff, I was like, oh gosh, man, that looks so dumb. But then once you're actually in the fight and you're playing with it, much better experience than I could even imagine. Like, this combat definitely feels better. When we get to like the overall story, I want to talk about the story for a minute. I want to give you my thoughts on this. This is absolutely the best superhero story that I think Insomniac or anybody has been able to do yet. Like, this was absolutely incredible. Now, there are multiple characters in Spider-Man 2. And I believe that they went above and beyond by being able to bring out each and every one of these stories and make it very, very cohesive in the overall structure of this thing. It didn't feel like it was slapped together. It felt really, really good. The flow of the campaign was very, very good. The character writing, the character acting, the overall experience that you get from the overall experience that you get from the overall story content, very, very good, very high quality, very polished. There was just so much in this game, that when I was playing through it, I felt so immersed the whole time. I was like, wow, this is really, really good. And then like some of the stuff that was unexpected, some of the stuff that was expected, the way things turned out, I was like, oh man. So when I say that, there's multiple characters. You will play as Miles Morales, you will play as Spider-Man, and you will play as Mary Jane Watson, and you will play as one other character that I'm not going to spoil for you. You'll be able to figure that out once you get there, and I think you're gonna really love it. It's pretty cool. When you're sitting here through the story though, like I said, you're gonna have like multiple characters and you're gonna have multiple things going on at once, and the way that they split these sections up for you to experience all of this, I feel like it was done very well. None of them drag on to the point where you're like, oh man, I want to get back to this character. And none of them, are short enough to where you're like, oh man, I feel like I wanted to play more as that character. I feel like the balance of how you played as these characters, as Peter and Miles, was very well done. Very well done. Well, when you're playing as Mary Jane, I'd say your average playtime with Mary Jane throughout the whole campaign, all three of the times that you play as Mary Jane, about an hour. So I mean, you'd figure about 60 or 20 minutes if you're really good at what you're doing, probably 20 minutes with each part of that. That's the only thing I'm going to spoil, because I do think that people would want to know about that, because I know there was a lot of complaining from the first game about, playing as Mary Jane. You will play as her for 3 times. These are faster paced. You have more tools at your disposal, and you are more aggressive as Mary Jane. So it actually was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I do think that you'll be able to enjoy that. They're cutscenes, man. Everybody, I've seen this stuff on there that there's like more cutscenes than there is gameplay. That is not true. That is not true at all. There are good cutscenes in here, but they're not to the point where it was like, they're not super intrusive. And every cutscene in here was like, wow, dude, that's pretty cool. And it is stuff that you're going to want to watch. Like, I don't know anybody on the planet that's going to want to play a superhero game and not have a very compelling story. And that's what Insomniac delivered. By far, this is Insomniac's best freaking game ever made to date. Easily. This is easily a 10 out of 10 for me. Like, I have no reservations saying that whatsoever. This was absolutely worth the money that I paid for it, and it was incredible. From literally, I didn't really care much for the whole Sandman thing, but from that point on, absolutely incredible and very, very fun. I want to talk. Did I already talk about world traversal? I think I did. I think so. Even if I didn't, I don't remember, because I was recording this whole video and I didn't even have my sound on, so I had to start over again. World traversal. I want to touch on this a little bit more. Earlier this year, I played Forspoken. Absolutely incredible. I love the sense of speed and being able to get around the world. Spider-Man 2 absolutely nails that and stands shoulder to shoulder with Forspoken in terms of world traversal. Very, very fun. The wingsuit, I thought it was going to be a little bit off and maybe a little bit like I thought it was going to feel awkward, but it 100% adds to the overall bang that you get from being able to traverse this world very fast and being able to add that to your arsenal of different types of maneuvers that you can use to get around the city. Very cool. And it weaves in so nicely that it just feels like it should have been there the whole time. It is good. I want to talk about the map now. You've got like the old map, and then you've got like the new part of the map, the new section. The new section is absolutely beautiful. The neighborhood, like the houses, all of the other stuff, like tunnels in there, all kinds of stuff that just is like, wow, this looks very good. I'll worry about all the side content and all of that stuff, as I continue to explore this world and have some fun with it. But the fact that you can like fly across the river now, swing under the bridges, swing over the bridges, run up and down the bridges, and do whatever you want is so cool. It just adds to that immersion of having a bigger city and being able to go outside of the boundaries and to be able to look at different things. Now, they did do a lot of changing it up. They did change a lot of things up, especially in terms of like visual quality, stuff like that. They absolutely made this game look better and feel more like a next-gen experience. For sure, they did. When it comes to Spider-Man 2, overall, like I said, I give this game a 10 out of 10. It was absolutely my favorite, by far my favorite Insomniac game ever made. I'm surprised they were able to top the first one, 2018, because I really love that game and I still play that game to this day. But this one here has 100% topped that game for me and become like probably my favorite superhero game of all time. Easily. This game was incredible. The characters were incredible. The storyline was awesome. Playtime for this story was very, very good. I felt like it was... I had fun. I've been playing it since Friday night. I've got, basically all day Friday night. I started Thursday night, got all night Friday night, and then you know, all basically all day today. I went to family's house for a couple of hours, but pretty much all day, all the way until like 2 o'clock. I think 2 o'clock in the morning is when I completed this game. So yeah, this one's pretty cool. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next one.